transformative changes are taking place, the institutional structures of our global system still remain the ones that were established at the end of the Second World War. And I'm not saying that they're not useful, they're extremely useful and important. The Bretton Woods and the UN system that have served us so effectively, but they are somewhat mismatched by the changes and the realities that we see around us and the changes of economics and society and politics, particularly in the developing world, which are becoming and assuming a newer form. So I see primarily that there is a sense of great promise in two continents in particular, in Asia and Africa. And recently when we heard about Foreign Minister Zhao Shilu's announcement of the initiative of Asia Anew, I see this as a matching. So I see Turkey now getting much more engaged. Having talked about those changes, let me now talk a little bit about this concept of Indo-Pacific. Not very long ago, we used to talk of it as Asia-Pacific. And I think the way this really happened was because the economic gravity was shifting from around the Atlantic, i.e. Europe and America, towards Asia. So Asia started becoming a major hub for economic activity. They called it the workshop of the world, they call it the laboratory of the world. I think in many ways it has become the workshop or the factory of the world in many, many ways. And I think this is a tendency that is growing. It's a geopolitical, geoeconomic shift that has happened. It has already happened. I think the technology and the innovation part are still in the making. So I don't see Asia still as the major hub for technology or innovation, though I must mention tremendous progress is being made on these areas as well. And it could well be envisaged that in the not too distant future, Asia could also become the technology and innovation hub, a very entrepreneurial people. And I think, as you mentioned, Ambassador, that the big focus and the big thrust in Asia has been that while these changes are happening, how do you maintain peace and development and stability in the region? Because we don't live in an isolated world anymore. So what were these big economic changes? Soon after the Second World War, we saw the dramatic growth of Japan through the 60s, and I think they went up to the 80s. There were truly magnificent changes in economic structure, in economic potential, and they became a global power. But then, of course, Japan moved into the dark decades, as they call it. But still, Japan remains a huge powerhouse, not only of economy, but of technology, of innovation as well. And these are the driving forces of the world today. From the 1980s, we saw the rise of the Asian tigers. Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, Taiwan, they were growing at a really rapid pace. The global value chains that we see today as so important began with the growth of these Asian tigers. And then towards the end of the 80s and the early 90s, you saw the beginnings of Deng Xiaoping's China. And of course, this has been a truly dramatic kind of development that China has delivered, because not only has it become a huge economic entity, second largest economy in the world, but it is one in which they have been able to lift almost the entire population out of poverty. A truly remarkable feat by China. And I think the other story was that of India, particularly since 1991, when we had our policy of reform and liberalization, which brought about a new sort of enthusiasm within India. We started accelerating our growth rate, and I think it continues today. We are today the fastest growing major economy. We are the largest recipient of FDI in the world, particularly of greenhouse FDI. So we are in that arena